Back on the road again. The Brewers head to Cincinnati to take on the Reds.
Watching it sail, it's a grand slam! Oh my goodness, Kristin Yelich.
Our coverage of Brewers Reds starts tonight at 5:35. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good morning. 10 o'clock, we have 67 degrees in Milwaukee. It's going to be hazy, warm, mostly sunny today with a high of 82. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. In Menominee Falls this morning, shots fired at a FedEx facility near County Line Road and Pilgrim Road. This after a couple of employees were reportedly arguing. The suspected shooter ran off. Police still looking for that person. No serious injuries reported. And police say there is no threat to the community at this time. The American Jewish Committee condemning Sunday's attack in Boulder, Colorado, an Egyptian national in custody after a flamethrower attack on a group calling for the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett says the definition of a terror attack could apply, but notes it's also early in the investigation.
I think the simplistic term, it's a hate crime. I'm not sure why the Boulder police are not calling it that, but this looks like a case that I'm going to guess the FBI will probably take the lead.
At least 8 people were injured. The trial of Maxwell Anderson picks up again today. The man accused of killing and dismembering 19-year-old Sade Robinson in April of 2024.
Sade Robinson's mother and other family have sat in the front row behind prosecutors for every moment. In week 1, the jury heard testimony from friends about cell phone data tracking Robinson's location the day she went missing, and from detectives about surveillance footage that prosecutors say shows Anderson walking away from Robinson's burning car. Witnesses recalled gruesome details about severed remains found scattered along Lake Michigan and across Milwaukee. So far, the trial has not visited evidence recovered from Anderson's Southside duplex. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
2 people hurt, dozens displaced after 2 residential fires in Milwaukee on Sunday. First broke out at a 4-unit building, 87th and Villard, around 2 a.m., leaving 14 people temporarily homeless. 1 firefighter and 1 resident suffered minor injuries. Second fire started in a 14-unit building near 45th and Hampton around 11:45 a.m., leaving 23 people without a home. No injuries reported in that fire. The Milwaukee Fire Department says neither building had sprinklers. Cause of those fires is unknown. Wildfire smoke from Canada will blanket Wisconsin skies again today. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Kristin anticipates smoke will mix down to the surface.
The air quality will drop into that unhealthy for sensitive groups category, meaning anybody with respiratory issues or a heart condition really need to limit the amount of time that you're spending outdoors. But there is some possibility that the air quality even drops down into that unhealthy for everyone category.
Hazy skies will come with a spike in temperature and humidity today. We'll have the complete 5-day forecast coming up in less than 5 minutes. Tariffs on some European imports may get higher if President Trump has his way.
The president announced he's now doubling tariffs on imported steel and aluminum, raising them from 25% to 50%. This is starting on Wednesday. The European Commission blasting this move, saying that it only adds to the uncertainty, that it undermines ongoing negotiations, and that they're prepared to respond with countermeasures. And it comes as these tariffs continue to be challenged in court.
ABC's Rachel Scott says the administration says they're prepared to take their legal battles over tariffs all the way to the Supreme Court. This just in, the Trump administration and Chinese leaders are expected to talk very soon, according to White House officials. President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill will be making its way to the Senate soon. The multi-trillion-dollar tax and spending package narrowly passed the House. The Senate will take up the measure this week, where Republicans can only afford to lose 3 votes. Democrats say the White House is trying to cut Medicaid and other social safety nets by billions of dollars. Republicans say they are much-needed reforms to the programs that will cut the deficit. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed picture on Wall Street. Dow down 159 points. NASDAQ up 19. S&P 500 is down 7. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth. Annex Private Client. Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time 10:04.
Nobody loves a deal more than Dad. So make him proud and shop Fleet Farm for his Father's Day gifts at the best prices guaranteed. Like a Charbroil 3-burner gas grill for just $149.99. Or how about a Craftsman V20 half-inch cordless drill driver kit for $49. And whether he's grilling or drilling, help him look good with Carhartt Force tees for 25% off. For more of the hottest Father's Day deals, stop by your local Fleet Farm or check out our latest weekly ad at fleetfarm.com.
UW-Madison is one of the country's leading hubs for supporting life-changing research and building a skilled workforce. An investment in UW-Madison helps make a healthier Wisconsin, build strong businesses, and win the war for workforce talent, not just at Madison, but across our entire state. Visit uwalumni.com/UW5 to tell your legislators to support UW-Madison in the Wisconsin state budget. That's uwalumni.com/UW5. Paid for by the Wisconsin Alumni Association.
Hey, WTMJ's John Merck here. The paint on the outside of your house is the first impression that people have. CertaPro Painters painted our house and did great. They moved the planters around. They moved the grill out of the way. The little things are important to CertaPro Painters, and they always get it right. Schedule the outside of your house to be done. A free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C for your home or your business. The details matter to CertaPro Painters. They do it right the first time. They clean up after themselves. They leave your property better than it ever was. Each CertaPro Painter is independently owned and operated.
The leader in the dugout, the skipper, the man who riles up the crew with his words of inspiration.
You mean my old ass? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's our guy. Brewers manager Pat Murphy joins Wisconsin's Morning News every Tuesday at 8:45 for Brewers 360.
We're a team that the other team's going to feel us. You know, you're not going to walk away from a series and not be felt. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers clinched their second straight sweep. Milwaukee beat the Phillies 5-2 on the road. Team's seventh straight win, longest streak since August of 2023. Packers begin their second week of OTAs. Green Bay will have its first of three optional practices of the week today. Packers will also host sessions on Tuesday and Thursday, and mandatory minicamp begins on June 10th. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We do have a crash. This is going to be on the ramp from Ryan Road to I-41 North. Doesn't look like that should be causing any major delays. Also, there is a crash on the exit to 60th Street from I-41 894 East. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Warm, hazy, mostly sunny today. 82 for the high. Clear and mild tonight with the low 64. Warm, humid, and windy on Tuesday. We could see some showers and storms late in the day tomorrow. High of 85. Morning showers on Wednesday, then mostly cloudy with a high 65. Thursday, partly cloudy. High 68 lakeside, 74 inland. And Friday, a chance of showers. Mostly cloudy with highs 69 to 73. 66 in Madison, up to 70 in Green Bay, and 67 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:07.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Oh, you bet. Happy Monday, everybody. And that means in studio with us is Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12 in Milwaukee, host up front along with Jaron Jordan. Tremendously entertaining and informative show that airs across the state of Wisconsin, the great state of Wisconsin. Good morning, Kristin.
Good morning.
Does it feel like a Monday to you guys? I'm sensing a Monday vibe in here.
I got a big Monday vibe.
Do you have a big Monday vibe?
Oh, my goodness.
I feel ready for this week.
I'm ready to go home
it was after
already.
a short week last week, because we haven't seen you,
It's
Matt
been a while.
Smith, in 2 weeks.
It's been a whole 2 weeks.
Well, we certainly missed you, and a lot of the texters are already indicating that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So one of your big guests on the program this week was U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our senior senator from Wisconsin. And, you know, he's been, and I'll say that, I'll just preface it with what I think. This is one of the issues that I think he's right on, because he's been focused on the deficit, the federal deficit, for many, many years, more than a decade. I remember going to see him in Oshkosh talking about this years ago. Oh. And he's sort of drawn this line where he's not going to support the big, beautiful budget bill, BBBB.
B cubed.
Cubed? No, not
B cubed. B to the third.
No, big, beautiful budget bill. 4 of them.
I think you're adding an extra B.
I did. Thanks for noticing that. Big, beautiful budget bill.
Okay.
Anyway, so you had him on the program.
Yes.
And he was very talkative about this issue because it's a big deal with him. We have some audio.
We do.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We can't blow it right now. We are blowing it.
When do you anticipate talking to the president next?
I'll let him reach out and talk to me.
And you're not concerned he's going to blow you up on social media or wherever for your opposition?
No, I've got the facts and figures on my side. Again, I don't want to come to that. I want to work with this president. I want to see him succeed. I want to see America succeed. I want us to stop mortgaging our children's future. And that's the promise I made in my 3 elections. We need to do everything we can to preserve this nation for our children, not mortgage their future.
Interesting comment.
He's going to call me.
Yeah.
Do you think he would actually?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I guess he did show up in the house.
Yeah.
And had his conversations with everyone. I wouldn't put it past him to start blowing people up on social media, though.
I mean, here's the thing. He knows the Republicans he's got to turn over to get the yes vote. So, there's not a long list of senators, Republican senators.
And I honestly don't think he cares if Trump goes on social media and blows him up. He said, he's been all over the place. He's been doing network interviews. He was at the press club last week. He says he has for sure 4 Republican senators ready to stop it immediately as
Did
is.
he say which ones?
No, he didn't.
Well, one's probably Rand Paul.
Rand Paul, yes, for sure.
Easy.
So, as it's going to be a fascinating week. The Senate's returning tonight in Washington. The initial goal was July 4th to get this all done. Who knows at this point? But he's kind of front and center in this opposition fight for Republicans.
Did you talk much about where else he sees cuts being possible?
Listen, yes. And he wants to go back to this approach where you split it up. And I don't know if there's any appetite. You split up the bill, right?
Okay.
So he says, let's pass the Trump tax cuts just as a standalone, get that out of the way. His proposal, as he said, all right, in theory, let's shove aside Social Security and Medicaid and just and put that to the side. We're not going to deal with that first. He wants to bring in people from DOJ to go through all the government agencies to start to find some of what these savings. You would need trillions upon trillions of dollars to get to pre-pandemic spending, which he is proposing. So we'll see if any of that is actually a real scenario, or if he folds, or if he continues holding this hard line.
Here's the other problem for Ron Johnson. We hear him all the time. We know him. We know what he says about these big issues. I don't get the sense that he's like a leader in the Senate. I don't think there's a bunch of other senators saying, Ron Johnson's right. Maybe on the deficit.
He's kind of a lone wolf, isn't he? Like, especially after the 2016. This is, maybe I'm misremembering this, but after 2016, because Mitch McConnell had kind of like hung him out to dry, right? Yeah. And didn't send any more money his way. And then obviously he still won. And then since then, he's kind of been, unpredictable and not necessarily in having his own cohort necessarily. Am I misinterpreting that?
And he has not minced words about his feelings about Mitch McConnell either.
Yes, of
so
course.
with John Thune in leadership now, it's perhaps a little bit of a different dynamic. But listen, I think he told us at the press club last week, he goes, I still see myself as a Tea Party candidate when he rose up in 2010, as opposed to someone in the Republican establishment.
As much as he says he's not a yes, at some points, he could be a yes. And then I guess for all of us in Wisconsin who he serves, what should we make of that?
Well, and we somewhat saw this play out in 2017, right? When the Trump tax cuts were changed and there were some modifications made, he was one of the last holdouts, and then he got to a yes. So
was there anything that changed? I don't remember. Was there anything that had to change to get him to a yes?
Yes, there were some business tax cuts that were involved in that. So, yes, Steve, you look down the road now, what could happen and what could change to get him to a yes? The possibilities are endless, right? Like, I guess if you do try to decrease that spending somehow, I don't know, but politics is funny like that, right? One day you're a no, the next day you're yes. I asked him, I said, listen, there were a bunch of House Republicans who were like, no. They went to the White House and they came back and voted yes. He goes, well, that's not going to happen to me. So we'll see.
One of the other great conversations you had on Upfront with senior Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin was on the issue of Judge Hannah Dugan. Yeah. He had some strong thoughts about that. I've got some strong thoughts about how he reacted to that question. We'll get to that with Kristin Brey and Steve Scaffidi and Matt Smith from Channel 12 on our Monday edition of Point Taken right here at 620 WTMJ.
Rivals meet again when the Brewers battle the Cardinals June 12th through the 15th. Come for a duel between the Contreras brothers on the diamond and stay for one of the best weekends of summer. It's Tropical Day, Saturday, June 14th, featuring a Brewers straw hat with special tickets. Then take Dad to the Father's Day game for a Barrelman cooler giveaway on June 15th. It doesn't get any better than this. Get in on the action at Brewers.com.
Michael Ziegler still doesn't know how that James Bond movie ends. He missed the ending, but his wife made sure he was there for the beginning of something much greater. He says, Turn off what might be distracting you so that you can tune in to the new reality Christ brings. Hear Dr. Ziegler's message, Ticket Stubs Turned to Joy, this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Summerfest is almost here. The music, the food, all the things that make Summerfest great. And we are going to send you to all 9 days. Keep it tuned to WTMJ for your chance to win tickets to every single day of Summerfest. We'll have your opportunity on Wisconsin's Morning News. Go to Summerfest on us. Happy Summerfest from all of us here on WTMJ.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. He is Steve Scaffidi, and we are joined by Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12, and continuing the conversation that you had with Senior Senator Ron Johnson.
Yeah.
He had his thoughts. He weighed in on the Judge Hannah Dugan case. But before we get to that, where are we as far as updates with the case?
So we're kind of like in this procedural, point in the case. On Friday, her legal team, Thursday and Friday, filed a whole bunch of documents. They expanded on this request to dismiss the case, citing the judicial immunity, going back, citing the Trump Supreme Court decision that gave him judicial immunity. So what
does that mean? What is the actual argument
that
there?
Essentially that her actions as a judge cannot be prosecuted. So they're arguing that she took official acts in her courtroom, and those acts, based on numerous previous Supreme Court rulings, that she cannot be prosecuted for judicial immunity, just like presidential immunity for the president in terms of his official acts. So they're citing her official acts as a judge, not saying they're right, wrong, or indifferent, just the fact that from the baseline, this prosecution can't even go forward.
It's an interesting legal question. I don't think it's going to get her off the hook, but this idea that she's going to prison. It's interesting that Ron Johnson, of all people, is talking about this, given his role in what a lot of people think is a fake electors case, and the fact that he either knew or should have known, given what was going on around him, what was actually trying to be done, and all the legal ramifications of all that stuff, which sort of all got pushed to the side once Trump got reelected. So I don't really take him of much value, his words on this issue, because it seems disingenuous to me.
Well, let's hear what his words were.
Yeah.
I'm curious your thoughts on the arrest itself and the fact that the FBI put her in handcuffs and hauled her out of the Milwaukee County Courthouse.
Those individuals should be condemning the obstruction of justice that appears that she engaged in as a officer of the court. I think that is outrageous. She should be prosecuted. I hope she gets convicted, and I hope she gets sentenced to the maximum penalty as an example, so other judges don't abuse their authority as officers of the court and obstruct justice.
You think this judge should go to prison?
If the facts bolster it, and sure looks like she obstructed justice, she ought to really be sentenced to the maximum sentence.
Interesting, because there's a lot of other cases.
Well, that's what I think. This is just so partisan. It's been so fascinating to watch, because it was last week or 2 weeks ago when the video came out.
Yeah.
As far as there was courthouse video of her walking out of her courtroom, addressing the agents, walking back into her courtroom, and then just with everyone seeing the exact same video, having a wildly different interpretation of how much that video condemned her actions.
And I found it fascinating that he made the point to say she should face the maximum penalty as an example. I think that's what the Trump administration, I think that's what the FBI is looking to do here with the arrest first and foremost. Because you're right. You look at the video and everyone has a different opinion about whether this was right, wrong, or indifferent, and it seems to be falling directly along political lines.
I would also remind the senator that facts do matter, and that's especially relevant when you talk about some of the wacko medical things that he apparently has signed on to, and he's not really known as a straight shooter when it comes to science on Twitter or any of the other social media platforms or in any of the interviews that he does, which are endless. He probably is on TV more than most any other politician in the state of Wisconsin. National TV, certainly. He does every damn show.
Yeah, Tammy doesn't. I mean,
yeah, she does
Senator
nothing.
Baldwin doesn't do that many.
Yeah. So I mean, he's always out there. And again, all of that stuff is different than what this is. Ultimately, someone will decide what happens to Judge Dugan based on her behavior, based on the law, and all the rest of it. I've said it before. This is theatrics created by an administration who wanted to prove something, demonstrate something, so everybody could see this is what's going on in our country. We're going to stop this. And I get the PR elements of that, if that's what your administration's trying to say. But the facts of the case, I guess I would be agreeing with him on this one, are the facts. And then ultimately a judge and or a jury will decide what her fate is. That's all I would say about it.
Is there a question you wish you would have followed up with him? As far as when that was his response, is there anything else you wished you could have, like after the fact, you're like, oh, I wish I would have come back with that?
I mean, I do that with every interview.
I know, of course.
Right? Yes. No, I mean, I think it was fascinating because I don't think we have heard, at least anyone in the Wisconsin delegation, go as far as he did in terms of saying maximum penalty, which he has to know is prison with these charges.
You were also a moderator on the panel at the Milwaukee Press Club. What other subject came up with the senator?
Oh, man, there was a ton that came up at the press club. I mean, obviously, there was a lot of talk about the budget. We talked a little bit about his hearings that he's going to call because he's in charge of the Investigative Committee on Homeland Security, which essentially has enormous subpoena power. He told me that he is willing to subpoena former Biden cabinet members to talk about Biden's health. We've obviously seen all the reports. We've seen the books that have come out. So Johnson is launching an investigation, and he has asked 28 former cabinet members to voluntarily come testify before his committee. He says he will subpoena them if he doesn't, and he hasn't ruled out subpoenaing the First Lady. As well. He has major power, so it's going to be fascinating to see where that goes and if that gets any attention and what the overall purpose is.
And I, again, not a lawyer, never been a lawyer. How much will the Supreme Court ruling on immunity protect Biden?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to use it in their favor, right? If they can, just like we saw here. I mean, I guess just in terms of like immunity for official acts, in terms of any type of defense, I think whether this is public testimony or what he does with this will be fascinating to see how much attention it gets, and if these cabinet members if any of them do decide to willingly come talk before Congress.
And ultimately, the question that this committee, in their hearings with these witnesses, whether it's the First Lady or any of the people that worked in that administration, what's the crime you're alleging here, or you're trying to flesh out? What's the crime? Cognitive decline, physical decline. Last time I checked, not a crime. You got elected.
Well,
he got
not
elected.
The first time in history that there's been. If we talked about FDR, if we talk about Reagan, like this is not the first time that we've had, for lack of a better word, maybe cover-ups or people assisting the president as far as where he is in his health. All right, when we come back, we're going to set this record straight on whether or not the CDC is involved at all in Milwaukee Public Schools' addressing of lead. So stay with us with Matt Smith, Kristin, Brey, and Steve Scaffidi on Point Taken.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on June 17th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Chicago Cubs.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Delta Dental of Wisconsin. Tune in June 17th at 7:05 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check out your local listings to watch the game.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Advent. Snoring issues, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. You don't have to put up with that. I did something about it 5 years ago now. I went to Advent, one of the great facilities, talked to two docs on my first visit, 30 minutes or so, asked all the questions. Now, everybody's different problems, different solutions. They put me at ease, first off, and we added in a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. They determined my problem, very common problem, sinuses, nasal passage, and my breathing triangle. After a short procedure, about 20, 25 minutes, breathing better since that moment, sleeping through the whole night, which is the best thing ever. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com, schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 9-ounce selected varieties essential everyday potato chips, 2 for $4. 3-count selected varieties Maruchan ramen noodles, 4 for $1. 64-ounce selected varieties Sunny Delight, 2 for $3. 12.8 to 18.8 ounce selected varieties Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwiches, $5.49.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers.
Safe. Okay. Ooh, pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a goner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
Spring is in the air, the perfect time to kickstart those home improvement dreams. Hi, Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. They're your local experts in stylish, energy-efficient upgrades. Boost your curb appeal and add real value with top brands like Pella, Anderson, Marvin, and more. All customized to fit your home and your style. Wood, vinyl, or fiberglass, they've got it all. And their newly remodeled New Berlin showroom is the place to start. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. Visit hometownwindows.com today.
Welcome back to Point Taken.
I was going to wail out the beginning lyrics, but I decided to hold back.
Is this your karaoke song?
No.
What is your karaoke song?
Any Frank Sinatra song.
My Way? I feel like that's like your
No, that's an easy one, you know.
Easy one to sing or an easy low-hanging
Under
fruit
My
as far
Skin.
as...
Under My Skin, one of my favorite ones, yeah. Oh, okay. I've Got You Under My Skin.
Do you have a go-to karaoke song,
I don't know.
Matt
I'm
Smith?
thinking. That's a good question.
Well, we'll ask it at the end of the show.
Keep thinking. All right. So you had a chance to talk to the Milwaukee Health Commissioner, Michael Todoritis. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well done.
And so he kind of set the record straight because RFK Jr. Was he under test? Was he
before
testifying?
Congress.
Yes. Yeah. And saying that the CDC was involved with Milwaukee Public Schools when it came to trying to figure out this lead situation. Yeah. Everyone on the ground in Milwaukee immediately said, not so fast.
How did you take hearing that testimony on Capitol Hill from RFK Jr. saying that there was, in fact, the CDC team here helping with this issue?
I, initially joked that they might have been stuck in traffic in Chicago, but in reality, I was getting texts from colleagues across the country who were saying, hey, is this happening? And I turned down the appropriation hearing to learn the information firsthand. And in communication with our team and everyone else here in the city, no one could speak to any of this mythical team that doesn't exist. And, to be clear, we would welcome additional support. We would welcome additional funding to continue to support this, because these are long-term hazards that we're concerned about, and really looking to that expertise that was at the CDC to support during this challenging time.
So beyond whether he is knowingly lying or the fact that he doesn't know whether or not a CDC team is here, what is it that a CDC team would be helping with under a different administration?
So, and the fascinating thing is they were helping up until the point that the people on this team were fired within the CDC. So they were helping with site plans, and they had people sometimes on the ground and sometimes people remote, just in terms of their analysis and the data that they know which is behind lead, to help the city go through these schools and plan out the steps A, B, C, and D. And now all of that is gone. And on top of that, the city's aid request, it's called an EPI aid request for assistance from the CDC, was denied. They said the first time in 75 years a request like this to the CDC has been denied to help with the lead crisis.
And to answer your question, I think he's lying because he doesn't know.
Well, I mean, the outcome is that he's not telling the truth.
Yeah.
And whether it's intentional or not, that is the question as far as, is it because he doesn't know, or he does know and he doesn't want to
I said it last week again about RFK Jr. He's not qualified for the position he holds. So therefore, you're going to get a lot of dumb stuff like this. And I don't want to dumb it down for everybody, but if you don't understand the job that you are tasked to serve our public interest, you're going to have answers like that make no sense. And to not know what's going on, last time I checked, this is a serious problem.
It's absolutely a
It's
serious
embarrassing
problem.
that we haven't fixed this problem in 3 decades. When we had the money, we have the resources.
Yeah.
Even Senator Ron Johnson last week talked about this, the fact that, Milwaukee can fix it themselves. Why?
But can they?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Should they?
His whole point was, this has been going on for decades, Senator Johnson
So what?
said. So
Fix
why?
it.
Well, and he goes, there can't be any magical wand in the CDC to fix this. It has to be done on the ground.
I could make the argument that the state of Wisconsin should have fixed this a long time ago because it is in our long-term public interest in health and safety, when that's the measure, to make sure that kids aren't having their brains impacted by this issue.
Yeah, this is decades in the making, right? And I think you can point fingers in probably 12 million different directions in terms of who's to blame, and here we are.
Lots more to talk about with Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12 in Milwaukee, also host of Up Front with Jared and Jordan. Great show that's always on the topics with the great guests. Lots more to talk about in the next half hour. We got local news coming up with the always outstanding, legendary Connie Weber. I'm just throwing out praise today. I think it's because it's a Monday. All right, here's the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry. Preston, 8 people still recovering in Boulder, Colorado, and police have a 45-year-old man in custody for allegedly throwing a makeshift flamethrower at them. The suspect yelling "Free Palestine" at the people who had been gathered there, calling for the release of the remaining hostages in Gaza. ABC News contributor Brad Garrett, a former FBI agent, says it's still early in the investigation.
I think the simplistic term, it's a hate crime. I'm not sure why the Boulder police are not calling it that, but this looks like a case that I'm going to guess the FBI will probably take the lead.
2 people are still hospitalized in critical condition. The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says at least 31 people were killed at an aid site when Israeli troops opened fire. The IDF soldiers say they fired into the air. Ukraine launching a massive drone offensive deep into Russian territory. The surprise attack said to have been planned for at least 18 months. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:31. I'm Connie Weber. A jury returns to the courtroom this morning for week 2 of the trial of Maxwell Anderson. He's accused of murdering his date, Sade Robinson, and dismembering her body. Last week, the jury heard testimony from friends and over a dozen law enforcement witnesses. So far, the trial has not reviewed evidence recovered from Anderson's Southside home, where prosecutors say video footage captures Robinson and Anderson arriving, but Robinson never leaving. 2 foreign nationals now face federal indictments for interstate stalking and conspiracy in Milwaukee and Los Angeles. Cui Guanghai of China and John Miller of the United Kingdom allegedly plotted to obtain and export sensitive U.S. military technology like missiles and drones to China in November of 2023. Men allegedly paid $10,000 as a deposit for a cryptographic device used to encrypt sensitive data. They also plotted to stalk and track a person planning to criticize the Chinese government, U.S. coordinating to extradite the men from Serbia. 4 Milwaukee County affordable housing projects awarded state and federal tax credits this year. Projects include turning the former Doctors Hospital on the city's near west side into over 100 apartments for seniors, redeveloping the former Midtown Walmart, senior housing in Bayview, and new apartments in Wauwatosa. Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority expects to add a total of over 1,700 affordable housing units across the state with these tax credits. Time now for the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down 236 points, 42,033. NASDAQ down 3 at 19,110. S&P 500 down 14 at 5,896. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Still working on a crash on the ramp from Ryan Road to I-41 North. I-41 South, about 2.5 miles beyond the ramp from County K. Right shoulder, they're blocked due to a disabled vehicle. And another one, this is also going to be off right. I-41 North, a little over a mile beyond the ramp from Highway 158. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Hazy, warm, sunny today, 82 for the high. Clear and mild overnight with a low 64. Late day showers and storms tomorrow after a high of 85. Wednesday morning showers, then mostly cloudy, high 65. Partly cloudy Thursday with a high 68 lakeside, 74 inland. Friday, a chance of rain, 69 to 73 for the highs. Right now, Madison at 68, 71 in Green Bay, 67 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:34.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian designed recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases, and it's free. Stop in today and save during our Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown Mattress Factory showroom.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi. Don't miss Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium on Wednesday, June 4th at Elmbrook Church in Brookfield from 8:30 to 3 p.m. This is a free and fun event for older adults 55 plus that celebrates active aging, featuring speakers like John McGivern and Jennifer Bartolotta, exhibitors, goat yoga, speed friending, raffles, food, music, and much more. Make the day your own. Pre-register at enjoylifesymposium.com. That's enjoylifesymposium.com.
For those with a warm weather fashion, try St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, because that's where you'll find a vast array of men's, women's, girls, and boys' warm weather apparel at the friendliest prices. So many choices, and at such a value. You can fill the closet without draining your wallet. Shop warm weather fashions at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Oh, I love schooling young Kristin Brey during the break on all the things she missed when we were all when I was young.
I mean, was it a volunteer position? We're talking about lunch ladies, and the fact that at one point,
no,
when
they got
Steve
paid.
was growing up,
it was all the
it was a
neighborhood
paid
moms.
job.
It was the neighborhood moms,
It wasn't like a volunteer. It wasn't like brownie leadership.
They probably made $1 an hour back then in the 1970s, but
A lot of casseroles.
Chop suey, pizza. Pizza burgers. It was amazing.
Is that your Catholic school?
No, that was post. That was post. I went to Catholic grade school. This was in high school. Yeah. I knew all the moms. They're all cooks.
All right.
Fantastic.
How many of them were swing voters?
Oh, that's the worst segue ever. Kristin just won the worst segue ever on the Point Taken show. Where's my bell?
At least I got us back on track.
Yeah. Well, you brought it up.
All right. So we are here with Matt Smith, as we always are on Monday mornings, political director at Channel 12 and host of Upfront. So you also talked to, is it Rich Thau?
Yeah.
Or Tao? Rich Thau?
Now you're making me question it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's the president of Engageus,
Yes.
which is a focus group, or focus...
Like a polling firm, kind of, for
firm.
lack of a better term. A research,
Sounds like a dating
research
website.
firm.
I know. It's like I said, it makes me think of like Silicon Valley, like startup names for some like an engagement optimizer B2B software.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so they have a swing voter project.
Yeah.
That they're in all the battleground states.
Yep.
They are interviewing swing voters and trying to get their temperature on the current administration.
Yeah. So they talked with 12 recently. 12 swing voters here in Wisconsin. They voted for Biden in 2020 and they voted for Trump in 24 to kind of just get their take on where we are 4 months in, just to kind of set the stage before we play this. They found still broad support for the president. 9 out of the 12 said they still support the president. There's a lot of concern across the board just in terms of tone, how fast things are going. But baseline, 9 of the 12 support him, and none of them said if they could go back, they would vote for Vice President
None
Harris.
as in zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
and
telling.
how in line is that with what we've seen with national polling?
Yeah, I mean,
because this is specifically swing voters,
yes,
right? This
so
is not
like,
the
yes,
overarching.
So, I mean, there's not a lot of polling specifically targeting swing voters, right? I mean, it's a weird group of voters, and Wisconsin has more than
more of
most
them than
states, right?
Yeah.
Like to vote for Biden, then vote for Trump, or to vote for Tammy Baldwin and to vote for Donald Trump, or to vote for Ron Johnson and to vote for Tony Evers. Like that happens in this state.
That was the runner-up for the show name. Split ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually like voters
that
like
name.
this because
they're fascinating.
They use their gray matter.
Well, or it's their gray matter. You can say that they're thinking about it, but it's also sometimes, I don't know, sometimes we don't make rational choices, right? This is like the problem with classic
you think the ones that
economics.
always vote one way or the other make rational choices?
I think, and
no.
you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I also think there's certain people there's incumbencies very strong here as far as voters liking who they like. I think that but there's also people, I'm sure there's overlap, even though we can never really know, but there's people who probably voted for Ron Johnson and for Tammy Baldwin.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're a key group of voters here in the state that really could help predict who wins the state and determine who wins the state.
I'm always fascinated by these people because it does suggest that there's going to be movement going forward about the looseness of party affiliation, I think. If this number can actually grow.
Yeah.
And we talked about third parties, maybe the rise of third parties at some point in the last few weeks. This is sort of that sort of breeding ground for that. They're just discontented with one side exclusively, and then they just flip the switch, different or fill in the box, I should say, in the ballot box. So I'm intrigued by this group, and the thing that I think Democrats should worry about is that none of them would give Kamala Harris a chance. That's indicting.
Well, it goes back to the fact that as much as people have concerns about Trump, there's also lots of concerns about the Democratic Party right now. Yeah. But one of the things that was interesting is the follow-up question you guys had for Rich was how talkative.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes I think there's been specials in like Sauk County and some of these areas that are always like the bellwether counties of Wisconsin. And a lot of times, sometimes people, especially pre-election, don't necessarily want to talk about it because these are their neighbors. Correct. But it seems like post-election, they were a little bit more talkative.
Well, why do you think that is?
Well, because I think that they're feeling a lot of pressure in terms of what's going on in the world, pressure from friends and family. They're thinking about these issues. They're challenged on them. And also because they've taken an odd position in terms of their voting behavior. They are atypical. Most people stick with one party, whether it's D or R, and just keep going. These folks have changed their minds, and I think they feel in a certain way they have to defend what they've done.
Not to me. I'd rather they exercise some discretion. This party affiliation, I think, is making us dumber people. Text of the day, the early leader in the clubhouse. I'll suffer through Scaffidi because I love Matt Smith. Leader of the text of the day. If we had an award, you might win that award. We'll take another quick break here. What's Matt going to be reporting on this week at Channel 12? All that coming up after this. 620 WTMJ.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Lazaga for Comfort Awnings. This summer, I'm getting relief from the hot Wisconsin sun whenever I need it with my motorized retractable awning from Comfort Awnings. Sensors are also available that detect strong winds and rain to extend or retract your awning. They even protect against UV radiation so you can safely enjoy the outdoors all summer long. Family owned and located in Burlington, Comfort Awnings expertly installs custom awnings that fit your home and style. Right now, you can receive $400 off your awning or screen. Call 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious crash? It's free. Yes, free. As in it won't cost you anything to speak with us. Not sure if you have a case? Call our team at Gruber Law Offices today. Your first call and your first consultation are always free. And you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. If you've been seriously injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
We didn't write the headline, the Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Jake suffered with carpal tunnel syndrome.
Tingling numbness in my hands and fingers, not sleeping well at night, tossing and turning, trying to manage with pain pills and stretching, and it just wasn't helping.
He didn't want the traditional invasive carpal tunnel surgery.
I had seen people with the bandages and scars and clubs for hands. I just don't have time to be incapable of doing things for 6 to 8 to 10 weeks.
Then he learned about the Ovation Hand Institute and the Ovation Technique, an ultra minimally invasive procedure done in the office.
I wanted to get it looked at sooner than later. So I had the virtual consult. It was very thorough as far as like I was sitting in a doctor's office. I was booked for the procedure 2 weeks later, had my right hand done. Very quick procedure. It was really great. That very night when I went home, it was the first time in probably 3 months my hand did not wake me up.
Book an appointment with the Ovation Hand Institute and find out if you're a candidate for the Ovation Technique.
Probably the most surprising thing was how quickly I was able to do things again. I'm cooking dinner, I'm doing yard work and all that kind of stuff the next day.
Visit ovationhand.com. ovationhand.com.
Wherever you are in Wisconsin, there's a free and confidential Aging and Disability Resource Center, ADRC, or Tribal Partner Agency. We're here for older adults, adults with disabilities, and your families. ADRCs are a bridge to support for benefits and financial assistance, transportation, in-home care, and more. Get to know your local ADRC and connect with resources today. Call toll-free 1-844-WIS-ADRC or go to findmyadrc.org. Paid for by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
Oh, thanks to all those Texans who are jumping on today. 855-616-1620, deciding unlimited. WTMJ Talk and Text line. Mock chicken legs is another one of those great meals.
I'm very confused by this.
It's chicken parts molded to sort of look like a chickeny.
Like a hot dish?
It was hot, yeah.
But not like a hot dish like casserole.
No, but it was separate.
There was
Each one was
chicken
separate.
leg molds that you could buy, like Jell-O molds?
I don't know how the ladies did it, but they did it so well, and the food was fantastic. And their chop suey was restaurant quality. I'm going to say that right now. And those of us who went to Oak Creek High School in the 70s, you will testify to that. Even maybe that's Steve from Oak Creek. I don't know if he was there at that time. All right. What are you working on this week? Weird segue, but what are you working on this week?
Probably hungry
not
for some
food.
chicken now.
Yeah, aren't you hungry?
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Specifically mock chicken.
Yeah, mock chicken. Listen, I mean, I think it's going to be fascinating to see what happens in D.C. as the Senate returns. There's going to be, all this chatter. They've been gone for a week, so the Washington press corps is going to be ready to pounce the second they enter the Capitol building, right? To ask everyone what they think about the budget bill, what Ron Johnson thinks, what their next move is going to be, whether Trump gets involved, how fast all of this is going. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch over the next week. I think we have state budget negotiations kind of reaching a fever pitch. JFC is going to finally get to some heavier topics, taxes in the coming days. We have these meetings between the governor and Republican leaders. So I think there may be some developments.
Thawing?
Maybe thawing.
I use that term like the last budget, some thawing.
I mean, listen, they've met, and I think a lot of people out there be like, wow, they met and they talked, but that actually kind of is a big deal inside that building.
I want a picture of Governor Tony Evers and then Lemieux and Voss from behind at the bar with like their beers all just lined up on the bar, or shots. That will show me some thawing in this conversation.
The beer summit?
Because that's the perfect description of Wisconsin. Everything's decided like that. Family
over beer?
Over beer at a bar. That's
and a brat.
And a brat. Everything we do is
or an ice cream cone.
I'm going to ask you a question. So I was giving national journalists some grief last week because sort of this recipe that Donald Trump's been using when he has his Oval Office pressers, unofficial pressers, is that if he doesn't like the question, he attacks the journalist, their publication, and then he said it's like you should never insult the president, but then they just cower from that. And I brought up. It's an extreme example, but Mike Wallace was brilliant. He was afraid of no one.
Yeah.
And this is going back decades.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any current versions of that. I'm just surprised, and I know it's a gamble as a journalist because you run the risk of never being invited again, and someone else will feel you take your seat. And I guess that's always a concern. But if you don't push back, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. As a journalist, when you see that, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always want to push back and ask the questions that are relevant and newsworthy in the moment. I mean, and you're right. Look at what happened with the Associated Press, right? Like getting essentially banned from Air Force One and banned from the Oval. And I mean, so the administration has taken those steps. But you're right that the role of journalists is to push back and to question and to attempt to find the truth. I mean, we've seen what's happened with this back and forth with CBS and 60 Minutes and the Trump administration and all these talks of the merger and when corporations get involved. And I mean, so there's a lot in the pot. But yes, to your point, the president has had a way of pushing back in a way when he doesn't like a question.
And different administration, but when you run the risk of not being able to get to the truth of something, and we were talking about the Joe Biden and the book Original Sin, to not get to the essence or the nut of what the story is actually, what's happening in the White House. That's the problem I have with this. So they become staged events, and we might argue they already are that because he's sort of glammed up the Oval Office now. It looks like sort of a whorehouse from New Orleans in like the 1920s or whatever. It's like, geez, there's so much. How much more gold can you pack into that place?
But there's also, I mean, because obviously when you're doing upfront, you have someone with a sit-down interview. You can kind of craft the interview. You lay out the questions, I'm sure, as far as what you're trying to get out of it. Versus the presser, you hope you get called on.
Yeah, and you're yelling.
And you're
right?
yelling, and maybe you yell back after, he kind of attacks your question. And so I'm assuming that you've been in both situations.
Yes.
And so how different is it when you're preparing for one versus the other?
I mean, so for a formal sit-down interview, if you say you have 15 or 20 minutes, right, you can actually put a lot of thought into questions and potential follow-ups and I mean
fact-checking,
yes,
they have things at your fingertips.
Yes, and you can anticipate potentially what they're going to say in an oval situation, and I've been in press situations like that before. It's you have one shot to yell a question, maybe one quick follow-up, so it's got to be quick, it's got to be concise, and you got to get to the point, right, or they're going to move on.
My point is Trump likes tough guys or tough women. So be tough. See what the reaction is.
Absolutely.
Take your shot. And maybe you don't have the same job the next week. Maybe you have a better job because you showed. Well, I can say some other things. But
Come for the king. You best not miss.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be coming back and ask some summer questions and also find out what Matt Smith's karaoke song is. Stay with us on Point Taken.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella windows and doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. The big focus in America today is on your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? I want to talk to those of you who are in pain right now, or maybe it's someone you love. You've done everything they told you to do. The pain just comes back. You're exhausted, but you don't give up. QC Kinetics, they're different. They're not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You meet face-to-face with medical directors. I'm meeting with Dr. Ashley Caravelli in a couple weeks and her team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps restore your damaged tissue. I've got some knee issues and some elbow issues. Their well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, so many of them right here in Milwaukee. They'd be honored to help you as well. No masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. You can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. The consultation is free with appointments. Just call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
After writing 3 unsuccessful offers, Brenda decided to make a no-regrets offer on this next property. She offered $35,000 over asking and promised to complete the purchase even if the appraised value came in as much as $25,000 below the accepted offer price. Why? Because she was tired of losing, and because her AccuNet loan consultant showed her that even in her worst-case scenario, no additional money would be needed at closing, and her payment, which on this home was much more affordable than others she wrote offers on, would only increase by $17 a month. Brenda's no-regrets offer, backed up by a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet, was accepted over several others. And wouldn't you know, the appraised value came in at the significantly higher than asking purchase price, which happens 9 out of 10 times in our experience. If you or someone you know wants help understanding what a no-regrets pre-approval might look like, get started by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Here we go. So Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12, as we listen to the dulcet tones Mr. Frank Sinatra. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with a classic Piano Man.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I went to St. John's in Minnesota, and it was the last song that I always played at one of the bars.
Nice.
So,
that's a good last song.
Yeah, it's a good, it's, a lot of people would probably pick that, but I think I'll have to go with that. It's a good one. You don't think so? No?
I think it's up there.
No, that's a good one. That's actually a really good one. I'm actually learning how to play that on the piano, which is it's really hard to play, too. Not surprising because Billy Joel is a master pianist. But I wonder if Wolski still, they used to play My Way, and then they played Rosalita by Springsteen to wrap the night. Every night. And I was there a lot of nights in the
when it was wrapped.
Yeah, when the night was wrapped in the 70s and 80s. I bet you they still do that because they never change at Wolski.
I'm sure someone on the text line will let us know.
All right, our question of the day. This is always a fun way to end the show. When does summer begin for you? I know the reason I asked this because June 1st is like the start of the meteorological summer. When does summer start for you? What's the big indicator?
Memorial Day weekend, even when it's cold and freezing. Yeah, the feel of summer.
I gotta have an 80. I gotta have an 80.
An 80?
Yeah, 80 degrees.
Ooh. Is it supposed to be 80 this week?
Yeah, 83 tomorrow or the next day. Yeah.
All right.
No, I think Memorial Day weekend. I'm ready. Let's go.
Not this
I was
year.
in a sweatshirt and it felt like summer. I was on a boat on a sweatshirt. It's fine.
Memorial Day itself was fine. We were outside. It was a Brewers game. We were tailgating.
Yeah.
What's your start of
It was
summer?
also Memorial Day.
That's a boring answer, I think.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to come back with
yours is
something
what?
better.
When the first 80-degree day?
80.
Didn't we have an 80-degree day in March?
I mean, like in April, May.
So you need some qualifiers with that.
Can't I have qualifiers?
So if you have one 80-degree day in April, that's the start of summer, and then it's like 50 for a little while, then you're...
I think a trending 80s.
So it's the first 80-degree day in May or June?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a boring answer?
That's an exciting answer.
Changes every year. It's
As
thrilling.
the son of a weatherman. Yeah, it changes. One thing that frustrates me is we fall into these, this is when this season is. Anybody who's lived here knows it could be summer till October. Right? It's hot in October, sometimes even November. Last year, we didn't even have a winter, really. We had 1 week of cold weather. I think I shoveled 3 times. That's not Wisconsin winter weather at all.
You mad about it?
No, I'm fired up about it. As I'm always fired up when I take the seats on Point Taken.
Do you have, later in the show, we're going to talk about one of the bills that was proposed as far as limiting fake service dogs. Do you have a hot take on that, Matt Smith, before we let you go?
I don't. Should I?
You should.
I can imagine your thoughts on this.
Oh, okay.
What do you think Steve's thoughts are?
I'm gonna wait to hear. I can
You're
picture.
not going to put your prediction out into the world of what Steve's
I'm just going to
take is on
hold
this?
it until I hear this conversation.
I am sick
in the
and
next
tired
hour.
of
here we
with
go.
this fake
Here we go.
rescue, emotional. It's what are you doing? It either is or it isn't. Now, if you do it in your, in your neighborhood, fine, do what you want to do. But when you go to public places that have people in them, don't be slapping something on the dog or multiple dogs, which is the new thing. These are my emotional.
We're going to do a whole segment on this later, right?
Yeah, I'm just
don't
wound
waste
up.
all your.
Tee this up.
Getting wound up.
How about airplanes?
No. There was a dog on the flight to Vegas that had gas. We're all going, who is the passenger that has bad gas over and over again for an hour?
I think the passenger had bad gas and blamed it on the dog.
It was the damn dog.
How do you prove that?
Pretty sure it was a dog.
Pretty sure. No, backtrack.
None of us knew that dog was there until we got off the plane. Stop with the insanity. It's not a city bus. It's a jet plane.
So
flying.
you're fine with an animal on the bus?
Yeah, do whatever you want on a bus.
Because you don't ride the bus.
That's true. That's why I can easily say that. Matt Smith,
this
good
has
to
gone
see
off
you.
the rails.
It has gone off the rails. Always great to see you. Political director,
You
Channel
as
12
well.
in Milwaukee, host of the great program Up Front, available all across the state of Wisconsin. We'll do it again next week.
See you next week.
Sounds good.
News is next, 620 WTMJ.
Hi, I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. One of the biggest questions retirees face is when should I take Social Security? Should you claim it earlier for a smaller check or wait for a bigger payout? The wrong move could cost you thousands over the course of your retirement. And here's something most people don't realize. Social Security is only one piece of your income puzzle. If you don't coordinate it with your other retirement assets, you could pay more in taxes or even reduce your benefits without meaning to. At Drake & Associates, we help hardworking Americans like you make sense of their Social Security options so you can keep more of what you've earned. This isn't just about picking an age. It's about having a strategy so your retirement income lasts. That's why I want to send you a free retirement toolkit along with a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready. Inside, you'll find easy-to-understand strategies to help you maximize Social Security, lower taxes, and build a reliable income plan. Text SS to 414-897-9522 to claim your free copies while supplies last. If you're unsure about your Social Security options, don't wait. This is your chance to get clarity and confidence about your retirement income. Text SS to 414-897-9522. Secure your future today. Text SS to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping you retire with confidence.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
With the trees budding and the flowers blooming, take a beautiful drive this week through the Kettle Moraine Forest for a free dinner at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. WTMJ's John Mercure here. It is the most unique and affordable dining destination in Wisconsin, and your second dinner's free. Order your favorite steak, seafood, the pan-fried walleye, a fresh salad, steak and lobster, even prime rib on Wednesdays. Any entree, your second dinner is free. Desserts, my favorite part of dinner, are also buy one, get one free. Unwind with a sweet old-fashioned, 20 bourbons, 100 wines. Celebrate a birthday, celebrate an anniversary, or just a quiet, free dinner with your sweetie in one of those 8 dining rooms. The Fox and Hounds, easy to get to, just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the Holy Hill Shrine. The spring drive is spectacular. It's coming to life. Fox and Hounds gift cards make perfect year-round gifts, as your second dinner is always free. Order online at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. Walk on in tonight for your free Fox and Hounds dinner.
Back on the road again. The Brewers head to Cincinnati to take on the Reds.
Way back there, it is gone! Brewers sweep the Phillies, and they have won their 7th in a row.
Our coverage of Brewers Reds starts tonight at 5:35. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
11:01, we're at 70 degrees, hazy, warm, mostly sunny today with a high of 82. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Day 5 of the Maxwell Anderson trial is underway in Milwaukee. Anderson, of course, accused of murdering and dismembering 19-year-old Sade Robinson after a first date early last year. The prosecution starting proceedings today with them questioning a man who lived in the same building as Anderson.
It was like living in a construction zone. I mean, I'd get off from work at 5 o'clock and I'd have to tell him multiple times, after I work a long day of work, I'm not trying to come home to hearing hammers and saws and power drills or anything like that, but it just never ended.
We'll have more coverage of the trial throughout the day right here on WTMJ. Outside the FedEx facility in Menominee Falls early this morning, employees were heard arguing, then shots were fired at the building near County Line and Pilgrim Roads. The suspected shooter ran off, still has not been caught. Nobody was seriously hurt. Ukraine says it took at least 40 Russian bombers out using shipping containers to smuggle attack drones into the country, some of them thousands of miles into Russia. ABC News contributor and former Defense Department official Mick Milroy.
It looks like around 30% or higher of their strategic bombers were destroyed. Some of these drones were as low as $500, taking out $1 million aircraft. It was a blow tactically, it was a blow strategically, and it was a blow politically.
Sources say the plan a year and a half in the making. Authorities searching for evidence after a man with a makeshift flamethrower yelled "Free Palestine," then hurled an incendiary device into a group that had assembled to raise attention for Israeli hostages in Gaza. 8 people hurt in the Sunday attack, some with burns. The suspect, 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon, booked into the Boulder County Jail north of Denver and is expected to face charges in connection with the attack the FBI is investigating as a terrorist act. Lawmakers in the Senate will be back in Washington today at the top of their agenda, debating the sweeping budget and tax bill backed by the Trump administration. ABC's Rachel Scott explains the bill aims to extend the 2017 tax cuts from President Trump's first term, as well as cutting food assistance programs and Medicaid.
Well, the bill promises to slash federal spending by $1.5 trillion. By some estimates, it would add $3.8 trillion to the national deficit over the next 10 years. with cuts to food assistance and Medicaid. More than 8 million Americans projected to lose coverage, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office.
Many Senate Republicans concerned about the spending in the bill. Democrats are opposed to the cuts. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down 181 points. NASDAQ up 31. S&P 500 is down 7. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian designed recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases, and it's free. Stop in today and save during our Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown Mattress Factory showroom.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers have won 7 in a row.
The Brewers pride themselves on playing great defense. They also enjoy taking advantage of other teams' mistakes.
The pitch. Hard ground ball right at the shortstop, and Trey Turner boots it. Oh, it ate him up. Everybody's safe. The game is tied on an error. The 1-0. Line down the right field line. It's hooking into the corner. It's a fair ball, and that's going to roll forever. Jake Bowers with a go-ahead pinch hit 2-run double.
Thanks to 3 unearned runs in the 7th, the Brewers make it a lucky 7 wins in a row. For WTMJ, I'm Dominic Cotroneo.
Crew head to Cincinnati for a 3-game series with the Reds. Our coverage starts today at 5:35 p.m. right here on WTMJ. Packers begin their second week of OTAs. Green Bay will have its first of 3 optional practices of the week today. They'll host sessions Tuesday and Thursday, then mandatory minicamp begins on June 10th. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Still working that crash. It's on the ramp from Ryan Road to I-41 North, and a couple of disabled vehicles. Looks like they are both off right. Both of them I-41, one north, about 1.5 miles or 1.25 miles rather, beyond the ramp from Highway 100. Another south, 2.5 miles beyond the ramp from County Road K. Here's the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Hazy, warm, sunny today, high of 82. Clear and mild overnight, low 64. Showers and storms later on Tuesday after a high of 85. Wednesday morning showers, then mostly cloudy, 65. Partly cloudy Thursday, high 68 lakeside, 74 inland. Chance of rain on Friday, high 69 to 73. 70 in Madison, 73 in Green Bay, 70 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
All right, welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour of Point Taken. And it's always interesting when I wake up and it's not me checking the news of the day, but it's our text thread that alerts me to the news of the day with our buddies Joe and Bill, obviously always here on Fridays. And I learned about Ukraine's 18-month plan that what happened overnight or happened yesterday as far as drones attacking estimates, potentially unconfirmed, but estimates of $2 billion worth of aircrafts.
Yeah,
and
now they're saying $7 billion. I'm reading NBC, $7 billion of damage. The significance of this, I'll get to what I think it is, but I mean, 117 drones on the backs of trucks all across Russia, not like on the border.
Yeah.
One of these things went 2,500 miles from Ukraine, clearly inside Russia. Vladimir Putin cannot be happy about this. Significant damage. I guess I'll get to it. The point that I think this signifies is this is a turning point in this war.
Turning point to what?
To two things. One, between Ukraine and Russia, this just ratcheted up by 10. And to the rest of the world, this is a significant action that could say to all of us, this is an actual world war situation, because we see now tensions rising to the point where somebody, again, you can think what you want to think about Ukraine and their sovereignty and what they've gone through when they were attacked by Russia, not a question, a fact, attacked by Russia all those years ago. Unprovoked. A desire to get ports and land, and probably some of the people who identified as former Soviets. There's probably a small piece of Ukraine like that. But it is a signifier that this war is now 10 times more serious and impacts the rest of the world, because now countries around that area could be drawn in. Because when you see terrorist attacks like this or military attacks,
I would say because Russia's calling it a terrorist attack, but
Right.
how could it be a terrorist attack when there's an active war going on?
Understood. But when you have other attacks that are happening around this zone by terrorists who are sort of aligning themselves with other groups, this could get really crazy.
Wait, back up. Why are you saying this is a terrorist attack?
No, I'm saying that's what Russia said.
Okay.
So, but when you see these things happening in that zone, when you have an ability of someone to carry out something this big, this dramatic, this impactful, other interests, other organizations, other actors, bad actors, can also start to get the idea that we could do this and involve ourselves, or try to carry out either the Russian point of view or the Ukrainian point of view. It gets more dangerous, I guess, is the point.
Well, I was reading a opinion piece from Max Boot in Washington Post that I am not you're someone. You're one of the Roman Empire guys, right?
Yeah.
As far as you think about the Roman Empire a lot, and I think there's some people who think about military tactics and are much more bigger history buffs when it comes to war strategies. And reading this is something that I had not thought of, but it is kind of scary as far as this revealing a vulnerability that is what's been broken open for war tactics for any country. Is the fact that we are now at the place where you can use unmanned drones to infiltrate territories, and that this is potential for the Chinese doing it to us in different air bases, for the Pakistanis to do it to Indians, to North Koreans doing it to South Koreans. As far as this is the next wave of, what was air strategy versus cavalry 100 years ago.
Well, Russia is calling this their Pearl Harbor. What we remember about the real Pearl Harbor, a place I will visit next year, that was carried out by individuals flying planes and attacking Pearl Harbor. This is a drone, no people.
There was no kamikaze mission here.
Yeah, no. They're just dropping them and blowing, and they were very successful, and that's, I think, what Russia is concerned about, that deep into their own country. This has to...
Well, it's also what I was reading this morning as far as two of the aircrafts were literally like unicorns that cannot be replaced.
Yeah, some of their most serious cruise missile carriers.
Yeah.
I mean, heavyweight military equipment. I'm worried about the response from Russia on the people of Ukraine, who have already suffered tremendously. That is something we all should be thinking about. I've always said I'm on the side of Ukraine. I've said it from day one. I think they are being persecuted, killed, for no reason other than land and port opportunity by the country of Russia, formerly of the Soviet Union, in this weird sort of effort by Vladimir Putin, apparently, to sort of reassemble in some weird, twisted way the old Soviet Union to create an even bigger superpower than Russia is now. That's the scary part.
Where do you think U.S.'s involvement goes from here?
That's a great question, because I don't have one idea what Donald Trump, I don't think he's commented yet on this, what he would say about what Ukraine has done militarily in Russia. I have no idea usually when I'm talking about Donald Trump, I have no idea, is going to say, I'm going to be really interested to see what his response to this is. And that's going to be very telling. Could he dare take the side of Russia? Nothing would surprise.
Or does he just clean his hands of it?
Or just say, you know what, this is their fight. We're getting out of it. Interesting times.
That is, I don't know, going with the isolationist theory as far as trying to pull back on all of it seems more likely than, backing off of the I'm going to solve this war in 24 hours, which we all know was always an exaggeration. But just saying this is not our war at all and leave it to Europe.
Yeah, but that's not how world wars usually act. And if this escalates beyond the borders, it gets ugly really quick. All right. After the break, Chief Economist for Annex Wealth Management, Brian Jacobson, joins us. Lots to talk about, tariffs and more. That's next on 620 WTMJ. Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on June 17th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Chicago Cubs.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Delta Dental of Wisconsin. Tune in June 17th at 7:05 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check out your local listings to watch the game.
Here's to experiencing it all this summer in Wisconsin. Every deliciously cheesy, rockin', magical, fireworks-filled, festival-loving moment. There's Cheese Curd Fest in Ellsworth, Strawberry Fest in Cedarburg, Festival of the Arts in Stevens Point, and the Renaissance Fair in Bristol, Honor the Earth Powwow in Hayward, Mile of Music in Appleton, Venetian Fest, Bratfest, Summerfest. So many fests for your whole crew. Find them all at travelwisconsin.com.
From the post-game show to the morning show, there's no rest for baseball and Dominic Cotroneo.
I was like a kid on Christmas Eve. I couldn't sleep last night. I was just so excited to get ready to watch games that count.
Dominic Cotroneo is our Brewers 360 guest every Monday morning at 8:45 on Wisconsin's Morning News.
There are some roster decisions I do want to break down here, and then we'll get into the lineup.
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
Usually that song means Dave Spano's going to join us. But we got a good replacement for him. Brian Jacobson, Chief Economist for Annex Wealth Management, joining us on the hotline. Hi, Brian.
Hey, how are you doing?
We are wonderful on this Monday. All right, so many things to talk about. One of the breaking stories from Friday was this big rally at the plant in Pennsylvania. The president announcing he's going to double that tariff rate. You and I have talked about this before, Kristin.
For steel.
For steel. And aluminum.
Yes.
We've talked about this before. Where do you think this story is going? Because when I've talked to like import-export people and trade people, they always say the uncertainty is not a good thing. You look at it from a financial planning, asset management standpoint. Where do you think this story goes?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's really going to be up to him as to where it goes and how far it goes. I mean, there is a history of applying tariffs to particular items like steel and aluminum. We know that this year he used what's called that Section 232 power. So that's part of one of the acts empowering him to impose tariffs on specific sectors or specific products, and bumping that from 25% to 50%. What we're seeing in the markets is that steel prices in the United States are going up. Internationally, steel prices are kind of flat. So really what it tells us is that U.S. users of steel, so think of car companies, appliance companies, construction firms, right, all those steel girders and all that those costs are likely going to be increasing. The price of steel is already up about 15% year to date in the United States, while globally it's actually down a little bit.
And so this was announced on Friday. He said it was going to go in place on the 4th, so that would be Wednesday. Is there a chance that you think this is just a negotiating tactic and markets are reacting, but it's not actually going to end up going up to 50%?
With this one, it is possible that it is a negotiating tactic because countries like Canada and areas like the European Union, they have already announced that they think that this is unfair and that they are preparing retaliatory measures if we do go forward with these tariffs. So it's possible that they'll be dialed back, but that is a very tight timeline to come to some sort of agreement between now and, June 4th, only a couple days, given that, especially with the European Union, they've had a couple months to try to come to a deal, and they haven't been able to really come up with anything. So I would not be surprised if we do see these tariffs go into effect, but maybe 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, they can get walked back as part of a more comprehensive trade deal.
One of the things that was making a lot of headlines over the weekend was the conversation between the CEO of J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon, and the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, on the subject of bonds and the bond market. I know you guys know a lot about those, that part of the markets. Concerns? What are you thinking?
I'm not that concerned. Jamie Dimon, being the CEO of J.P. Morgan, he's very successful, but he has been pretty much a doom and gloom kind of guy for as long as I have known him. Think back just about a year ago, he was saying there's a big storm coming and we should prepare ourselves. Year before that, he kind of said the same thing. So, his job seems to be one about getting headlines, and he certainly got some being at the helm of one of the world's largest banks. Now, when he talks about some of the bond market problems, I think we should listen to what he says, though, in terms of the need to have some deficit reduction. And I think that's really the context of what he's talking about. It's not necessarily him making a prediction that there will indeed be some pain in the bond market, but more along the lines of a warning that we really do need to get the deficits under control because there's just a lot of bonds to be issued by the government. The financial system, they can absorb some of it, but if you think about like a sponge, that sponge is already pretty well saturated.
And just explain to people who who obviously don't know as much as you do when it comes to finance, but how does the bond market affect an everyday person, especially if you're not necessarily invested in the stock market? How does that trickle down to the average American?
Sure. I think it's actually more important than the stock market to your average American, mostly because if you think about financing things like a car, a home, the interest rate that you pay, it really depends upon the financial plumbing in the United States. It depends on interest rate stability, the level of rates. And so if you see some sort of hiccup or some sort of crack in the bond market, that can cascade into bigger problems for people who take on debt. Now, for those people who don't have a lot of debt, that can actually create some opportunities, perhaps, because the Federal Reserve has a really good history of when they see those cracks forming, they bust out their duct tape, their Bondo, or the Flex Seal, whatever it is, and they try to go in and fix the problems.
A lot of people talked about market chaos, uncertainty, instability after Liberation Day. How would you describe the markets today?
Well, today it is a lot better. There was the shock from Liberation Day, just the size of those tariffs that were announced, and then the pause was obviously very well received. It's important to remember that the pause, though, it hasn't gotten rid of the tariffs. There's still kind of that baseline 10% tariff, sectoral tariffs like the steel and aluminum, and on autos, also the high tariffs on China. But for the most part, I think that the equity markets really expected coming into this year, because President Trump did campaign on the basis of saying, let's have tariffs. We knew he was a tariff guy. It's just we didn't know the level that he would set those at. Now it's actually back towards what I think is about what was consistent with people's expectations coming into the year, around 10%, maybe 30% on China, plus or minus something. And so as a result, the equity markets has kind of like they had the shock to the system, but now things have settled down. And it's really about how are companies now going to navigate this changing environment? How much are they going to have to eat the costs increases, and how much are they going to be able to pass on to the final consumer?
All right. Well, we will keep you for another segment because I want to talk a little bit. I guess there's a very specific provision in the big, beautiful bill about foreign tax. And so we want to get your opinion on that. We are talking to Brian Jacobson, who is the chief economist at Annex Wealth Management. You're listening to Point Taken. We'll be back after this.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Hey, it's WTMJ. Steve Scaffidi for Milwaukee Weight Loss. Yes, I've been on this journey for about 4 months now. Lost about 40 pounds. Secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day. Their doctors developed easy-to-follow weight loss program. Helps you lose weight fast. Helped me lose weight fast, naturally, safely. No drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects. None of the gimmicky stuff, the meals, bars, shakes. You don't even have to exercise if you don't want to, but I encourage you to get out there and walk every day. That's what I do. Their program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Their program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. I did it. You can do it too. It's crazy to watch your body lose that weight, but it feels so good. Schedule your free consultation. Yes, free by calling 262-449-1180. That's 262-449-1180. Or go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
After writing 3 unsuccessful offers, Brenda decided to make a no-regrets offer on this next property. She offered $35,000 over asking and promised to complete the purchase even if the appraised value came in as much as $25,000 below the accepted offer price. Why? Because she was tired of losing, and because her Accunet loan consultant showed her that even in her worst-case scenario, no additional money would be needed at closing, and her payment, which on this home was much more affordable than others she wrote offers on, would only increase by $17 a month. Brenda's no-regrets offer, backed up by a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from Accunet, was accepted over several others. And wouldn't you know, the appraised value came in at the significantly higher than asking purchase price, which happens 9 out of 10 times in our experience. If you or someone you know wants help understanding what a no-regrets pre-approval might look like, get started by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
While our NL Central phone may be seeing red.
That light! Oh, the red. Yeah, it's a chicken roaster sign.
Just wait till we put your bats to bed.
2 balls and 2 strikes on McCutchen. The pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
It's the Brewers headed to Cincinnati to take on the Reds.
Abner Uribe, the Cowboy.
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 5:35. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Talking to Brian Jacobson, Chief Economist at Annex Wealth Management. I was in too much of a hurry there, Brian. Always great to talk to you. The big, beautiful budget bill.
He's adding an extra B now, Brian. I don't know why he decided to do that, but he's putting in his own brand on it.
Yeah, because it's officially called the Big Beautiful Bill, right?
3 Bs, not 4 Bs.
I know, but I wanted to make it more dramatic.
I mean, it's accurate. It is regarding the budget.
All right, so how much does this obscure provision? Well, actually, you'll do it because this is your question.
Okay, so I saw this morning. I think I saw this in Morning Brew, the daily newsletter that both Steve and I get a lot of information from. And so it was basically that Wall Street's worried about there's some provision that is upending the treatment of foreign capital. And so how much do you understand this, and what would this actually mean as far as it basically putting a higher tax on anyone who's investing in real estate or companies in the U.S.?
Yeah, this is a really interesting provision in the tax code in general, and then specifically within the Big Beautiful Bill. And keep in mind, the extra B could be like a bouncing Big Beautiful Bill because it's going to bounce. You know, it's in the Senate right now. It's going to likely be modified. Then it has to go back to the House. They have to pass the same bill. So whatever's in there now is not guaranteed to be in there when they finally do go through the whole, legislative sausage-making process. Now, the provision that's in there, here's an analogy. Let's say that you're a U.S. investor and you're going to buy stock or a bond or a real estate in a foreign country, right? So maybe it's like Siemens, or it's going to be Mercedes or whoever else, some foreign company. If you get dividends or some payment from that, well, that government over there, they will withhold taxes, because there's no guarantee you're a U.S. citizen, right? Are you going to pay taxes over in Germany or wherever that foreign country is, right? So you have withholding taxes. And then you can, because there's tax treaties where that tax that gets paid to that foreign country can be applied as though you paid it to the U.S., so it doesn't get taxed twice. Okay, so that's kind of the context around this. Now, this Section 899, what it does, as it's currently written, and this can be modified, it's not going to really upend the financial or investing landscape, perhaps is what a lot of people are afraid that it might. Although it could be one of those, like the proverbial, the camel nose underneath the tent, right? It's like if the nose gets under the tent, are they going to kind of turn over the entire thing? So it's possible that it will get modified. But what it does is it targets specific countries that have unfair tax practices against U.S. firms. So like a digital service tax or something that's discriminatory against U.S. firms, and says, okay, if those governments or individuals over there buy U.S. investments, then those might be subject to this higher tax as kind of a quid pro quo or a retaliation. Now, it's really important within the way that it's currently drafted is it exempts what's called portfolio interest expenses or portfolio interest income. So it won't necessarily apply to like mutual funds or people buying treasury securities. It'd be more applied against the governments and the specific, like their sovereign wealth funds. So the scope of application, as far as the number of countries that it would apply to, is fairly small. Maybe it could apply to France, maybe Canada. They do have a digital service tax, but maybe they can get rid of those discriminatory taxes. So the scope is very narrow in terms of the number of countries, and then also the
Brian,
we got to leave it there, Brian.
We got to go. But thanks so much, Brian Jacobson.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Colorado, 8 people are recovering after what police call a targeted attack on a Jewish group gathering in support of freeing hostages in Gaza. Police say the suspect used a makeshift flamethrower into the crowd and that the suspect allegedly yelled "Free Palestine" during that attack. Boulder police stopping short of calling the attack terrorism. The FBI is calling it that. ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett says the definition of a terror attack could apply.
I think the simplistic term, it's a hate crime. I'm not sure why the Boulder police are not calling it that, but this looks like a case that I'm going to guess the FBI will probably take the lead.
2 victims remain in critical condition. Lawmakers back on Capitol Hill. The Senate scheduled to begin debate on the sweeping reconciliation package already passed by the House. And in New York, Sean Diddy Combs' former personal assistant returned to the witness stand today at the former music mogul's sex trafficking trial. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Connie Weber. On the stand today in the Maxwell Anderson trial, a man who lived in the same building as Anderson. He's suspected of murdering his date, Sade Robinson, dismembering her body, day 5 of the trial. 2 foreign nationals, one from China and the UK, face federal indictments for interstate stalking and conspiracy in Milwaukee and Los Angeles. 2 allegedly plotted to obtain and export sensitive U.S. military technology like missiles and drones to China in November of 2023, allegedly paying $10,000 as a deposit for a cryptographic device used to encrypt sensitive data. They also allegedly plotted to stalk and track a person planning to criticize the Chinese government, the U.S. working on their extradition from Serbia. A popular Wauwatosa bookstore closing its doors next month. The Little Reed bookstore will shut down July 18th after 40 years on State Street. Co-owners Linda and Fred Berg say they're ready to spend more time with their grandkids. Store's full inventory will be on sale beginning June 15th. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow is down 211 points, 42,058. NASDAQ up 41 at 19,155. S&P 500 down 6 points at 5,905. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Still working that crash. It's on the ramp from Ryan Road to I-41 North. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Warm, hazy, mostly sunny today, high of 82. Overnight low 64. Warm, humid, and windy tomorrow. Late day showers and storms with a high of 85. Morning rain on Wednesday, mostly cloudy, high 65. Partly cloudy Thursday, high 68 to 74. And Friday, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, high 69 lakeside, 73 inland. Right now, 73 in Madison, 75 in Green Bay, and 70 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:33.
Oh, boy, it's getting so expensive to dine out, but not at the Mine Chef restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mine Chef is family-owned, understands inflation hurts. Every Monday when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza absolutely free. Any size, any quantity. You buy one, get one free. Buy two, get two free. Buy 10 pizzas, get 10 free pizzas. Business owners, managers, bring in pizza for your hardworking employees and your key clients. They're going to love it because it's delicious pizza and your second pizza's free, saving your company a ton of money. Bring your family in today for free pizza. Your kids will love that world-class game room. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and near EAA in Oshkosh, just off the interstate. Lots of seating, lots of close parking. No need to cook. Don't think about cleaning today. Mondays can be tough enough. Buy one pizza, get one free at the Mine Shaft. Plenty to take home for tomorrow. Desserts, and I love their desserts, are also buy one, get one free. Just walk in today for your free Monday pizza, mineshaft.restaurant.com.
And now for the Pella play-by-play, here's Jeff Levering.
Thanks, Gina Della from Pella. What a beautiful day to have new windows and doors installed.
Every day is beautiful because Pella installs year-round during all seasons.
It's so hard to guess that next pitch. The customizations seem endless.
And it doesn't have to be super expensive. Pella has a product line for every budget.
And if it is time for a major upgrade, rest easy by scoring no interest and no payments for up to 2 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply on 6/30/2025.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. Don't miss Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium on Wednesday, June 4th at Elmbrick Church in Brookfield from 8:30 to 3 p.m. This is a free and fun event for older adults 55 plus that celebrates active aging, featuring speakers like John McGivern and Jennifer Bartolotta, exhibitors, goat yoga, speed friending, raffles, food, music, and much more. Make the day your own. Pre-register at enjoylifesymposium.com. That's enjoylifesymposium.com.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
All right, we got a little bit of a preview of how Steve feels about this, but just to give a little background. So, a lot of the news coming out of Madison for Wisconsin politics is what's going on with the budget. We heard a little bit from Matt Smith earlier in the show as far as talks happening, emotions maybe thawing a little bit between Governor Evers and, the Republican JFC. But there's other bills that have also been introduced so far this legislative session, and one includes a crackdown on fake service animals. And I knew that Steve would have an opinion on this. And so, if you imagine, there's obviously the service animals who are working dogs, people who are blind, people who have seizures. There's a lot of different abilities that dogs specifically, and there's other service animals, but specifically dogs, can do for people who have different disabilities that they're working with.
Big fan of those.
And there's also a rise of emotional support dogs.
Really?
And one of the cases is the fact that there is a lot of landlords who have very strict rules when it comes to pets and size of pets. And a workaround with that is for potential tenants to get a doctor's note that talks about the need of that dog as an emotional support dog, which circumvents a landlord's ability to say you can't have this dog in this apartment. Now, my opinion on this is I think that's fine because I think we already have a lot of housing shortages and that people should be able to have dogs. And if you're going to be a landlord, you should allow dogs. When it comes to public places and being able to bring your fake emotional security animal on planes and in stores and in restaurants and stuff like that, that's not necessarily a pet-friendly restaurant. I'm less sympathetic to that, but
it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's a classic example of people taking advantage of something, right? There's an opportunity. There's a window of opportunity. I'll use a different example. And people take dogs on planes, but the other one is for people that need extra help, there's wheelchairs provided that you can actually, I think you have to tip them, and they take you from when you check in all the way to the gate, and then they line them up. And we saw over the last few years these explode, because I travel a lot, from a few people in wheelchairs to like 20 at a gate. It's nuts, especially in Vegas for some odd reason, which maybe says a lot about Vegas. Because people understand that they can, it's not just getting that service. They can actually sometimes get on the plane
sooner.
So people that paid money, i.e., what is it, Southwest Select or whatever, you pay anywhere from $59 to $100 for a better lineup, seat in the lineup or standing in the lineup. Those people got irritated. I always see these situations unfold. And look, if you need a dog or a pet for some real reason, I'm all in, because that's a great thing that you can actually have something that you can be a partner with and have your life be easier and better and in all ways. But I get the tenant thing. That I see people again taking advantage of it, and tenants have rights too, not just the people that are renting the units. I think we have to have some clarity on these issues, and this is where a legislature or a governmental body has to. This is their job. We can't do this on our own. They have to step in and say, okay, here's the rules. Here's what you have to do. So I'm actually in support of this legislation, because I think if it clarifies.
So this is what the bill says.
Yeah.
The bill would enshrine in law landlords' ability to ask tenants for documentation showing a prescription for an emotional support animal. Tenants who provide false documentation, or healthcare providers who don't have a 30-day established relationship with the patient could face a $500 fine.
You know why that is, right? Because the doctors that just spin out these things. Because I can order them online, apparently. Oh, yeah, I'm a doctor. Here's a certificate.
But who's going to follow up and track down whether or not you have a 30-day established relationship? I just think the enforcement of this is for a $500 fine. And because I guarantee there's a lot of people, if you've gone through the trouble of I think there's a lot of people who would be like, fine, I'll just pay the $500 fine. It means I can live in this apartment with my dog. Is it also that you then can be evicted?
Yeah, actually some great commentary. Property manager Mark from Brookfield. You simply forgot our insurance will not allow dogs. I wasn't aware of that.
That is interesting. I didn't realize that was part of it.
Another landlord. Dogs can cause a lot of damage to an apartment or a home.
But this is my question for the people who just said that dogs can cause a lot of damage. Isn't that why you have a security deposit?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, because kids can cause a lot of damage. And so the fact that if you're a renter, you pay a security deposit, and there's a chance you don't get that security deposit back if you cause too much damage to the apartment.
Yeah, and on the enforcement piece, I get that, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't have rules in place, because because you could make that argument about a lot of different things. They never enforced that. So that means we don't have any rules and everyone can just do whatever they want? Because what do I know about the American public? Katie, bar the door. Once you start doing that, I brought that back for the specific reason I wanted to say it again. People
just say it in an Irish accent.
No, I don't do accents. But people will take advantage. Texter says, and this is my point, you can get one of these certificates online for $40.
Yeah.
No, there has to be some clarity in the language. There has to be some enforcement. All of these pieces to the story matter. But people are taking advantage of the system, and I don't like that.
I wonder how prevalent this actually is.
I don't know.
I don't know how you measure that.
No, but I can tell you this, and this is a whole nother conversation. You go to a store now, there's dogs all over the place.
See, I don't see dogs all over the place. And what kind of stores
my
are
local
you talking
Meijer
about?
store, which is
in
right
the grocery store, you see dogs in the grocery store.
It's grocery and department. It's both.
I don't know the last time I saw
walking around.
I feel like now that it's summertime,
we had two dogs.
There's a fair amount of bars that allow dogs that I know of, especially with patios and stuff like that. But restaurants, you can't, if they serve food, you can't have dogs in there.
Which is a good rule.
Yeah.
Although I was in the Third Ward, Wahlburgers, there was a dog right at the table next to me.
Was it a service dog?
I couldn't tell. I don't think so.
But was it outside?
Inside.
You were inside and there was a dog inside.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Which is a great burger, by the way.
Okay.
Unpaid, testimonial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then under the bill, the people who bring fake service animals into public places could face a $200 fine. The State Department of Workforce Development would be required to create signs for businesses that say, quote, task-trained service animals are welcome, and misrepresenting a service animal is against state law.
Yeah, a bunch of texters saying also the security deposit wouldn't cover the damage that an animal could do. So I don't know. I'm not a landlord, but Let's follow the rules. Let's get back to a place where we're following the rules more. I know everybody wants to bend the rules and cheat and for their own personal gain or advantage, but let's be better than that. Is that possible? A shift back?
I mean, I'm sure there's people who've always been breaking the rules.
To the good old days? All right. I'm going to talk about Hawaii after the break. Just because
No, really?
Yeah, just because I want to.
Okay.
All right. That's next. 620 WTMJ. Point taken.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Have you been to the Hounds and Tap yet? In Menominee Falls, this state-of-the-art facility and the ultimate hangout for hounds and humans. Grab a drink at the indoor-outdoor tavern, let your dogs hang out. You can even book professional grooming services, from pedicures to full spa treatments. Every day is a play day at the Hounds and Tap. Hang out with your dog and others, or drop your dog off for doggy daycare or doggy boarding services. Check out thehoundsandtap.com. That's thehoundsandtap.com.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are injury lawyers living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
I can save you at least $2,000. Vince Vitrano here for my team at USA Insulation, where Jeff is offering a minimum savings of $2,000 on your insulation project of $5,000 or more. These are the folks with the proprietary injection foam, filling your walls from bottom to top, where you lose up to 85% of your summer cooling. Find out how much Jeff can save you. Book your free in-home consultation today at usainsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Music director Ken David Mazur leads the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra in a gorgeous double bill June 6th and 7th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Concerts will open with Pulitzer Prize-winning composer Aaron J. Kernis's evocative cello concerto, Colored Field. MSO Principal Cello Susan Babini will be the soloist in this work, which was inspired by a visit to a former concentration camp from World War II. The second half of the concert features the Symphony No. 1 by Brahms, a piece that took nearly 20 years to complete as the composer attempted to shake off the looming specter of Beethoven. The result is a brilliant and original first step into the genre, though careful listeners will detect a nod to Beethoven's famous Ode to Joy. Mazur conducts Brahms June 6th and 7th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Visit MSO.org for tickets and more information, or call the box office now at 414-291-7605.
When I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, every time I come in, it's like a whole new store. It's because new inventory is arriving daily, all kinds of everything. And let me tell you, thrift store prices make buying easy, and helping others at the same time, that's icing on the cake. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Oh, as I said last time, somewhere Jeff Wagner is out there smiling. He loves Jimmy Buffett. He's seen him like a million times. Obviously, an exaggeration, but he loves Jimmy Buffett.
I did not know that about.
Yeah, generally sad when he passed. And he was a great artist. I mean, his music is. Talk about karaoke music. All of his songs easy to sing. All right, so I had this conversation at dinner on Friday and Saturday, and I think I recruited about 8 more people. So literally, as we're sitting here today on what's the date today? The 2nd?
It is the 2nd, June 2nd. Happy Pride Month.
Yes, Happy Pride Month. I think we'll do some stuff this week on that.
I'm trying to get some guests to come in.
Actually, there are festivals this weekend, right?
It is.
Yeah. At the lakefront?
Well, there's 2. So there's Milwaukee's weird in that it's Pride. There's 2 different Pride. There's Pride at the Summerfest grounds, and then there's the Pride Parade in Walker's Point, and there are 2 different organizations that organize.
Do they get along? That's the question. Some tension?
I think there's
natural tension.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to Hawaii next November in 2026, not this November. This year I'm going to Sicily and Malta, also a great listener trip. So I'm taking...
Which is sold out.
That's sold out, yeah. So this one's, the number's 50. But we're getting really close on that. And I was telling the group I was in, because I think I signed up 6 to 8 people on Friday and Saturday nights who have been, some of them have been on trips previously, some haven't. And they said, oh my God, this trip is awesome. They also said, what kind of tattoo are you getting? Which is a very popular thing to talk about because I'm getting a tattoo. And I heard that I was mocked on Saturday on the Fox Road Travel Show by Gene Miller, of all people. Like midlife crisis mocked.
Does Gene not have a tattoo?
I'm guessing he doesn't. So Gene Miller, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I'm going on your listener trip in about 12 days?
Manner of days.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get a tattoo over there, but then it would take away the significance of my Hawaii one.
You can peer pressure him into getting a tattoo.
Yeah, maybe
you guys go shot for shot. You can see if he'll.
I could see that happening.
Go for it.
Shot for shot.
Who do you? I don't know. I don't know. You and Gene.
It's been a while since I did a shot to shot in any bar in any situation, but we'll see. Anyway. Time is running out. There's an early booking discount, which is only in effect for a shorter period of time. It's substantial, but we're running out of seats, and I want to have you come with us. So it's next November in Hawaii, 3 islands, Hawaii, Oahu, and Maui. We're doing all the traditional stuff. Obviously, Pearl Harbor is something very important to me and all of us as Americans. That's I think our first full day. We're going to be there. All the great fun stuff, the luau's, Mai Tais. I was asking Kristin about Mai Tais during the break. And I'm getting a tattoo, and I'm still working on details, but I'm leaning compass with the 4 quadrants, each having a different representation of something important in my life. I told Kathy maybe I'd put her name in one of them. She goes, you're not doing that.
She doesn't want...
She thinks it's a kiss of death.
Really?
Yeah, that's what she said. Come on. Kiss of death.
Get her portrait.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you got Kathy's portrait, but then it ended up looking like the Dwayne Wade statue where it was just totally misfigured her?
That would be something that she would never do. So if you want to join us, easy, 866-GO-FOX-GO, 866-GO-FOX-GO. We're going to have a blast. We do a pre-party before the trip. We did one at the Bavarian Beer House. We'll find a place that can handle our group. And we just kind of meet each other so that when we get to the airport, in this case, on this trip, Milwaukee's airport, we're flying out of Milwaukee.
All right.
We already know each other. So it breaks the ice, and it's just fun, and the weather's going to be awesome. It's November, so it's cold here.
How many people are coming that don't live in Wisconsin currently?
There's a few. There's some Illinois people, and I think they've got a Michigan couple, too. So it's spread out, which is typical of my other trips, too, because our signal goes a long way in Illinois. So if you want to join us, 866-GO-FOX-GO, or go to WTMJ.com, click on the Hawaii, Best of Hawaii with Steve Scaffidi banner, or, of course, Fox Road Travel website. It's going to be a blast. They're all great trips. We make lifelong friends. We just were out to dinner Saturday night with one of our couples from a previous trip. It's just so much fun. And get to know other people. Stretch your legs, spread your wings, open your horizons. What's the other terms we could throw out there? Just you see something different other than Wisconsin in dreary old November.
There's a lot of, well, I guess, in November, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, summers in Wisconsin are awesome.
I know.
But not November.
Definitely not January.
And to the deer hunters out there, I know it's deer hunting month. I'm going to come back and literally, I come back for a couple days and then go deer hunting next year. So
busy guy.
Yeah.
Be carrying the load without you.
All right. You're going to be okay while I'm gone?
I'll be fine.
All right.
Figure it out.
I'm
sure that all the Steve lovers will be tuned out.
Yes,
while you're out because, I can't replace you.
Yeah. Hashtag more Steve. And that applies to me being gone too. So let Kristin know that you appreciate when I'm here.
Where are we going to find our conservative takes while you're gone?
I don't know. We should start doing interviews based on my absence of who's going to fill that role. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you want someone to fill that role? Or you just want to wing it?
We'll just wing it.
All right. Because I saw you recruiting in the hallway before the show. You're already doing that. You little liar. Come on, Kristin. Quick break. 620 WTMJ. Point taken.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
A great way to add value and curb appeal to your home is with a new LiftMaster or CHI maintenance-free garage door. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. A study by Remodelers Magazine reports that the average return on investment is an amazing 82%. Garage doors rank first among all home improvement projects. To see Geis's huge selection of doors, visit their showroom in Brookfield, or you can also visit their online showroom at geisdoors.com. Geis has everything from alley doors to custom wood designer doors and everything in between. Remember, for all your garage door needs, you call Geis at 262-784-4250. That number again, 262-784-4250. It's Geis. Visit them online at geisdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Dice.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Pam.
Good friends of ours moved there, and they had invited us over for dinner a number of times. And they said, we waited way too long. You should come when you're younger. They had no idea it was going to be this great. There are just so many things to do, and it keeps you young. I mean, we have a lot of residents who are pushing 100. I believe they're there and still alive because of Three Pillars.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Historic Fox & Hound Supper Club gift cards make perfect year-round birthday, anniversary, and thank you gifts. With the buy one dinner, get one free offer, it's like getting a free gift card. Order online at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com and enjoy your free dinner.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Abby Holm. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right. Did you survive your case of the Mondays, Steve?
I felt like I had a case of the Mondays, but I feel better now because we finished strong.
Yeah. I thought the whole show was good.
What was the best thing I said today? Was it my whorehouse comments?
I think that was a new one.
Yeah,
it's not the first time you've commented on how much gold there is in the Oval Office. It's the first time you called it a New Orleans whorehouse.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's a vivid. Have you been in a New Orleans whorehouse?
I think I took a tour in New Orleans. I used to go there a lot for work, and we would take tours, and they can show you
old brothels.
Old brothels, yeah. You trying to allude that I went to
I don't know.
a new brothel?
It was a very specific reference.
I see stuff, Kristin. I tour.
Have you ever been? I've referenced this before, but it's somewhere in, I don't know, it's Plover or it's around Wisconsin Rapids, and it was a hideout brothel place for Chicago gangsters. It's kind of on that tour of Dillinger and those guys who used to come up. And they still have one of the little houses that was like for John's. And it's like a little gnome's house, but it basically fits a bed. And because now it's just a bar, tavern that you can get food from. But they kept one of the little.
As you know, I love history.
Yeah.
And
I forgot what the name of that place is, though. I'll think of it.
I couldn't tell you. There's so many great tours in Chicago and Milwaukee, by the way.
Did not have a lot of gold in it.
I heard my grandson went to the Safe House on Saturday. So
your grandson went to the Safe House
with his other grandparents.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Isn't that not by himself?
They didn't cart him at the door.
Yeah, you're only 9 years old.
Did he know this?
They told him a story.
No, did they know the password?
I'm sure they knew it. It's all over the internet. You can find it every day. I love when you say the password, they still don't let you in because somebody's inside saying don't let them in. That happens. That happened to me once. I started getting pissed off.
I'm sure you did.
Because you know how I can be.
Someone on the text line today loves when you get fired up.
Yeah, like this person. Steve and Kristin love your show.
We love that.
Then I had a lot of other commentary as well. All right, we'll do it again tomorrow. We had so much fun. We're going to do it again tomorrow. Here's a sort of a blast from the past, recent past. Mary Kuhnmensch is going to join us for the first hour. So much to talk about.
A lot of court cases.
Woo! Come on. There will be lawyers as
and then,
Shakespeare.
Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley will be here on Wednesday.
Yeah. Action-packed.
Jeremy Janine will be here on Thursday.
When are we going to talk?
We will. We have a full show. If you missed any of our show today, Just text POINT to 855-616-1620. We will send you the link to our podcast so you can subscribe so you never miss a show. But we'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Ciao.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Yeah, when you say your Hasselus mattress showrooms are employee-free, you don't really mean it, right?
Of course we mean it. No employees. Give the mattresses a try with no pushy sales guy.
Why no employees?
To save